Good day, grade 10s, and welcome to today's video in which we are looking at a September 2021 theory paper. This was out of 50 marks. We've got some multiple choice, we've got some longer questions, but we're going to take our time through this to make sure that you understand this. If you haven't done this paper, if this is new to you, please check in the description. You'll see a link to the Google Drive where the question paper and the memo is. And again, as I always say, if you have papers from your respective schools, please, you can reach out to the teachers, ask them to reach out to me, send the stuff along to me, and I can always do a video explaining that particular paper as well. The more we have, the more we can learn from. Okay, so let's look at question 1. Question 1 comprises of multiple choice questions. This is for 5 marks. So let's look at 1.1. It says the first page of a website is called what? When we type in, for example, facebook.com, okay, and we haven't logged in, anything like that, what is the first page of that website that we go to? What is it called? It's called B, the home page. Okay, so the home page is the very first page on a website. That's why sometimes in websites, when you click on home, it takes you back to that home page. Okay, so the answer is B, home page. 1.2. Which one of the following is a typical example of an electronic postal address or an email address? Well, that's very simple because an email address comprises of a few things. Number 1, we've got a username. So that's everything before the @ symbol. So if we look at these over here, this can be one of them because they have got a username. These two don't even have @ symbol, so they are already thrown out. And the last one has a @ symbol and it's got a username before that. So I'm happy with that. It's either going to be A or D. Okay, so I've already eliminated B and C. But after the @ I need what we call a domain name. And a domain name will have the company's name that the email address resides at or the username resides at. And it will have, what type of company that is. So if we look at the first one, health underscore life, that's the username. Where is that located? It's located at a company called Icon. How do I know it's a company? Because of the next few letters. .co indicates it's a company. .za indicates where this company is located, and it is in South Africa. How do I know that? Because ZA stands for Zuid Africa. By using the same principle, let's look at D. Do I have a username? Yes. Do I have the @ symbol? Yes. So where does that username reside at? It resides at Cecil. That's all fine until I get to the next step, which is now saying .www. Not right. That's not a domain name at all, which means D is incorrect. So it's going to be A. Then 1.3. Which of the following icons refers to an internet browser? Let's first define what an internet browser is. It is a program or software that allows us to navigate through the internet. Having said that, this icon relates to Microsoft Outlook. That's an email program. Doesn't apply. This icon relates to disk defragmenter, which has to do with your hard drive, cleaning up your hard drive. It's got nothing to do with that. PowerPoint at the bottom. It's for PowerPoint presentations, okay? It's got nothing to do with that. What about C? Does that look okay? Yes, because C indicates Internet Explorer. And obviously that is a piece of software that then allows us to navigate through the internet. Right, let's continue. 1.4. Which one of the following statements are true concerning the internet? The World Wide Web is another term for the internet. Is that so? www stands for World Wide Web. And that's a service that runs on the internet. Does it match up? Doesn't quite match up over there. Okay, let me just want to scroll down here. What about B? A unique address on the internet is known as a URL. Interesting. The next one, C. The domain name .gov usually refers to a non-profit organization. Is that true? Well, .gov actually indicates that it's a government website. Okay, so that's not seeming like it's true as well. What about D? Access to all websites and the internet and their content is free. Now we know that's not because we paid to go onto the internet, so that cannot be true. So D, our access to website, that cannot be true. Cannot be C. World Wide Web is not another term for the internet, so the only other one is B, which is a unique address on the internet known as the URL. So if we look at it that way, yes, each URL is unique to the internet. It points to a unique page on the internet. So out of those, it is B. 1.5. Which one of the following statements about tabbed browsing is false? What are they talking about tabbed browsing? That's when we open, maybe just going to open one over here. When we open up a web page and we open up different tabs, and maybe on this one I go to Facebook, and on this one I go to YouTube, and on this one I go to another email application. Okay, so there you can see I've got different tabs open, and that's going to take me to different pages, right, for each one. So they want to know which one of the following is false. You can A, choose an option in Windows File Explorer to add new folders into the picture library. Interesting. B, Firefox and Google Chrome support this method of browsing. That is correct. You can choose this option in Internet Explorer to open more than one page in a single window. That is also true. It saves time during web browsing because you don't have to make use of the back button to open or look at the previous web page. That is also true. So by process of elimination, what is it going to be? It is going to be A, you can choose an option in Windows File Explorer to add new folders into the picture library. This has nothing to do with tabbed internet browsing, and that's why that will be the option to choose. Then we go to question number 2. You'll see that's also consisting of 5, zoom out a little bit, 5 questions, and they want us to match the explanation over here or the definition to the particular term. So let's just get the memo ready and let's move in. So 2.1 says a device used to connect computers in a network with cables so that communication between the computers can occur. Now, most of us know a lot of these particular terms over here, but we're going to go through them. A switch. So a switch is a physical hardware device that allows computers on a network to communicate with one another. Bluetooth, we know, is a method of connectivity. So, connecting my phone to maybe a printer or to another phone for sharing information. ADSL, that deals with our internet connection. This is a fixed line internet connection. This refers to obviously a file extension. This can be something malicious in nature. It can be a bit of a problem. Sometimes it can indicate that something's wrong. Our router, this allows us to get connectivity to the internet. Spam is unwanted emails. Wi-Fi, we know what Wi-Fi is. We know what email is. .exe indicates that it's a file that, like a program, is executable. So if I double click a file that's got a .exe, it's going to start or execute that particular file and have it start running. And then our cellular is obviously referring to our cell phone. So with all of that in mind, let's go back. 2.1 said a device used to connect computers in a network with cables so that communication can occur. Well, that's obviously going to be A. That's going to be a switch. 2.2, a cordless network technology that uses radio waves to make network access to computers and other devices within a certain area possible. That is going to be G. That's going to be Wi-Fi. Okay, cordless network. We know we can connect with a number of devices when we're in a Wi-Fi zone. 2.3, Vodacom and MTN are examples of this kind of network. What do you think it is? It is our cellular network. Right, that's J, our cellular network. Then unwanted mail that you receive through emails. We did this already. That is going to be F, spam. And then the file extension of a type of file that are most likely infected with viruses, and that's usually your .exe. Now, we say this because when you have emails coming through with attachments that are .exe, those are usually the ones that are infected. Sometimes even some programs on your PC, because they the guys who actually create these viruses, they want to attach it there because they know you have to double click that file to open it. And you might think, okay, that's fine. And you open your program not realizing that you've got a virus attached to this thing. But when you open the program, it activates the virus as well. Okay, let's move on. Move over to question 3. Question 3 dealt with network technologies and the internet. So they focused on a few things. One was the HAN. Now, the HAN is your home area network. In fact, they looked at HAN and PAN. So PAN is your personal area network. This is a network between, it's just you, maybe with your phone and your laptop. Okay, remember what the definition of a network is. We need 2 or more computing devices that need to be connected to one another through some sort of media. That could be a cable, it could be wireless. Why do we do that? For the purpose of sharing information. So if I connect my cell phone to my laptop, I'm doing so why? Because I want to transfer files. That is a personal area network. That's a network just sort of around you. A HAN is a home area network. Same principle, but it's a network within a confined space like your home. Okay. So here they ask in 3.1, name 2 advantages of using a HAN. Well, we can all share the same internet connection. We can share printers. We can share, scanners. Everybody can connect very easily to gain access to the internet. Any one of those would suffice as an answer. 3.2, give 2 reasons why a wireless HAN must be set up so that it's secured with limited access. Well, we know the reasons to that. We obviously want to maintain security. We don't want people to have unrestricted access to just use our data. We want to put a password on there so that no one who we've restricted can gain access. So your neighbor might pick up that you've got, wireless internet, and you want to put a password on there to restrict access to that. Maybe you even want to have, visitors be able to connect to your Wi-Fi, but to give them, limited access. You don't want them just to come in and be able to update their phones and everything like that. So you could look at, if security is not enough, anyone within the reach of the network might get access to your files, and you even want to restrict how they use the internet. Those are just some of the reasons. 3.3, what is UTP in terms of a network? UTP stands for unshielded twisted pair, and this refers to the cables that are used to link devices like a computer to a server, a computer to a switch. That is what it's referring to. All right, the next one. Explain what an ISP is. So stop there. What is an ISP? It stands for Internet Service Provider. This is a company that provides the service of the internet to you as an individual. They have usually a very strong fixed line, and what they will do is they will sort of rent out on a monthly basis, you getting access to a portion of that. Okay, that's where you come in, where you say, listen, man, I'm looking for a 10 meg line. They might have a 50 gig line, and you get your portion of that line, which you then pay for monthly. So they say, explain what an ISP is and the role it plays in terms of internet connectivity. So I just want to get the correct wording for you, so you can make sure you answer this correctly. There they mentioned to us, an ISP, an internet service provider, is a company with a permanent fast connection to the internet. That's your 1 mark. The second one says, these companies sell internet access and services to individuals at a monthly fee. So that's how you're going to answer it to get those 2 marks. And please, if you haven't been using this exact wording, I'm not saying you have to use the exact wording, but you need to be somewhere close in terms of the type of wording that you are going to be using. We need to start lifting that level as we get closer to grade 11. And then the grade 11s have to do the same as they gear towards grade 12. 3.5, what is the main advantage of a cellular connection to the internet in comparison with ADSL? Well, the one big difference, the one main advantage is with a cellular connection, I can connect on the go, right? I can connect in a very mobile way. So remember what I said earlier with ADSL, it's a fixed line internet. So if I've got ADSL internet at home, I can't move with it. With cellular, I can move anywhere I want to where there is reception. So yeah, it's one word. In fact, I'm going to show you here in the memo one word they mentioned, and that was mobility, which I just explained now. Okay. Next one, 3.6. As what is 4G generally known? Okay. 4G is also known as LTE. Now, these abbreviations just indicate the speed at which that cellular network operates. Okay. So they might say 4G, they might say LTE. But if they're asking you what 4G is generally known as, you can put down LTE. All right, then 3.7, they ask, what is a 3G or 4G dongle? Again, let me get the memo wording. Number one, for 1 mark, it's a USB device that enables you to connect to the internet. I don't know if any of you have even seen this stuff, but it used to be like, looks like a little flash drive. That's what they say, sometimes called a USB modem or stick. It looks like a flash drive, plugs into your machine via USB, and it allows you then to connect to the internet using cellular technology. Okay, so you'd have a little SIM card inside there as well. So please, I know some of you might not even have been exposed to anything like this, but just be able to understand and explain what it is. Number one, it's a USB device that allows me to connect to the internet, and you could say it's sometimes called a USB modem or stick. Okay, that's how you'll get your 2 marks over there. All right, then we move on to question 4. So question 4 dealt with network technologies. Okay, and 4.1 asks, what does the acronym URL stand for? So URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. That's all they want to know there. Okay. 4.2. A friend asked if the blue underlined word in a document indicates spelling errors. No. The blue underlined word, similar to if I open up a web browser over here and I click on that, you see the minute I move my mouse pointer over here, you can see there's an underline, a solid underline. That indicates that it's a hyperlink. So what is the general name for this kind of object? It is a hyperlink. 4.3, the school was told that they need a web server if they want to create a website. Explain why they need a web server in this case by referring to the function thereof. Again, I don't want you to get the wrong answer, so let's have a look at this. Right, so number one, what is a web server? That's the first thing they wanted to know. A web server is a computer linked to the internet. Now, it's not just any computer. It's going to be a special computer, nice and powerful, because a lot of people are going to be accessing the website. So a nice, special, powerful computer that's linked to the internet. And what does it do? It hosts websites. So that's where the website will sit. It will sit on this computer. And when people are accessing the website, they are in essence accessing this computer that has the website on it. Okay, so that's what they were asking you over there. Then 4.4, Windows Live and Yahoo are examples of web portals. So what is a web portal? Again, let's go to the memo and get the correct wording. A web portal is a website that serves as a starting point for all web searches. It supplies the user with links to different subjects, which could simplify browsing. Please try and remember that. You can simplify it if you want to, but please do remember those definitions. Then they ask, how do web-based applications differ from normal applications? Now, a web-based application is a program that sits on the internet. So it doesn't get installed on your hard drive, doesn't take up space on your hard drive, but in order to access it, you need access to the internet. So a major difference is a normal application is installed on your hard drive. A web-based application is one that's based on the internet, and you need internet access to actually open the program and utilize it. 4.6. Would you use a search engine or a browser to find the latest cricket score of the Proteas? Motivate your answer. Okay, so let's look at what the two actually are. What is a web browser? Right at the beginning, I mentioned to you, a web browser is a piece of software. What does the software do? It allows me to navigate on the internet. So here's my web browser. If I go to Google Chrome, this is my web browser. I can use it to navigate through the internet. That's all fine. But Google itself is a search engine. Here I go, help with computers. That helps me to find something, right? We can type in here, we want to find Cat with Mr. Hambury. And we can go down and we can see everything that's linking us there. So a search engine is on a website, and it's a program that allows us to find specific information. Whereas a web browser is a program that allows us to actually search through the internet itself. Okay, so let's just see exactly what the memo also says. We can see where we get in our marks. Number one, a web browser. I would use a web browser, yes, if you know the URL of the website where you may get the score from. So if you said web browser, but you motivated like this, that would be fine. A search engine, if you first have to search for the website, that can give you the score. So again, you could actually have put any one of the two in. Just if I look at the memo now, you could have put any one of the two in, but you must motivate correctly. So with the web browser, I can use it, but then I need to know the URL of the exact URL of where I'm going to get the score from. Alternatively, a search engine means I'm going to have to go and search for a site that will be able to give me the score. So just understand the difference between the two. 4.7, which of the following are not an example of a web browser? So we just spoke in detail on what a web browser is. Is Google Docs a web browser? No. Mozilla Firefox? Yes. Apple Safari? Yes. Microsoft Edge? Yes, it is. Okay, so the odd one out there is Google Docs. Then 4.8, what are bookmarks used for when browsing the internet? So I'm going to go to the memo and then I'm going to show you. So bookmarks create links to websites or web pages that you want to visit again. So if I go to my web browser and let's say I have to go to, okay, let's say I'm going to Cat with Mr. Hambury. I click on the link over there and I say, man, well, I actually want to come to this site again. What I can do is go over here with my 3 dots and I can go and say bookmark. Okay. And I'm going to say bookmark this tab. So now it asks me, well, what do you want to name it? And where do you want it to be stored? So I'll say, well, okay, leave it in my bookmarks bar, leave it as that name and click done. Now I can close that browser. I'm just going to open up a brand new tab and I can actually go into my list of bookmarked pages. And there at the bottom is Cat with Mr. Hambury. I can click on that. And what do the definitions say? Bookmarks create links to web pages that you want to visit again. So you can see what I did. I didn't have to type in Cat with Mr. Hambury. I didn't have to type in YouTube. I simply went to my bookmark, selected it, and it takes me to that particular page. Right, and then the last, last one, that is question number 5. Question number 5 now dealt with internet technology and communication. So here they give us a screenshot of an email. We can see the send button over here. Then we have 3 items. We have 2. In other words, who are you sending the email to? You can see I'm sending it to Walter7 at, where is it at? The domain is yahoo.com. Now, what is the Cc and Bcc? Cc stands for carbon copy. In other words, it is a copy of the email that will be sent to somebody else. The beauty of it is, if I'm sending this to Walter and I've got the CC, Walter will be able to see who I've copied in on the email. So let's say I'm sending this email, maybe I've put together an assignment and I'm sending it to the teacher. I can actually copy in my parents in that mail, so that they also have proof that I did send the teacher that particular email. However, the BCC is a blind carbon copy. If I put my parents' email in there, the teacher will not be able to see, or in this case, you can see here, we've got Pitt, right? So Pitt has been blind carbon copied in there, which means that Walter over here will not be able to see that a copy of the email has been sent to Pitt as well. Okay. Sometimes you want to blind copy someone, just to keep things secure, that you've sent it not only to the teacher, but to somebody else, but you don't want the teacher to know who you sent it to. Okay. So that's where we can use the BCC. Then we've got our subject. Obviously, you can type in whatever you want to. And here you can see we've got an attached file as well. It says, "Hi friends," in capitals, "the paper as promised. It could be of value in the preparation for the exams. Regards." Oh, no one, because they didn't put their name. Okay, so let's look at the questions. Who is the ISP, or the internet service provider, of the person whose address appears in 2? Well, we know that's Yahoo. Okay, we can see it there. It is Yahoo. Why is the second address by Cc known as the web-based email address? Because that's at gmail.com. Gmail is not something you download to your PC. That is a web-based email. That means the application is based on the internet. And in order for you to access Gmail from your phone, tablet, PC, you need access to the internet. Okay. What advantages does it have to compress a file or attachment? Well, the main advantage is that you're just making things smaller. Okay. You are taking like a whole bunch of files and you're able to put it together and make that combined size a lot smaller than what it would have been, which means you can simply email that to someone. The person that sent this email should receive a few tips about what we call netiquette. So what is netiquette? Netiquette deals with having basically our manners on the internet, right? The way we speak, the way we text, the way we email to one another. There's a certain set of rules that we need to adhere to. Okay, so I want to get this right. Number 1, when we look over here, some of the netiquette rules, and I'm going to go through these and then we can see it for ourselves. Your email must not contain spelling errors. You don't want to send large attachments, and you don't want to type your emails in uppercase. Let's have a look here. Do we have a large file? Yes, we do. Do we have capitals? Because this is like saying, "Hi friends, the paper as promised. It could be of value in the preparation for the exams. Regards," and then nothing. Okay, so this is why we don't type in all capitals, send large files and things like that, because that person's email account might not be able to accept a file or an attachment of that size. Why are the email addresses seen as strong email addresses? Let's go to the memo. Let's see why they are saying that. Well, it's simply because these 2 email addresses don't only contain letters, but they contain numbers as well. So if you can remember, when it comes to a password, we usually say that a strong password consists of letters, both lowercase and uppercase, and numbers. In this case, do we have a username here that's got lowercase letters? Yes. Uppercase? Yes. Numbers? Yes. Then it would be considered a strong email address. 5.6. Why does the email address in BCC text box display only a name and not the full name? Well, that's simply because you can see here it's this one displayed as Pitt, because this person has saved the person's email address to the address book or the address book in your email program, and they've given that particular name Pitt. So it's like saving a contact on your phone. You have the person's number, but instead of saving them as John Smith, you just save it as Smithy. So now when you send a message, you're sending it to Smithy, but you know it's John Smith. So in this case, it's exactly the same story. Let me get the exact wording. Yes, the person's address is already saved in the address book, even though it displays as a different name. Then lastly, what is the difference between an email sent with Cc and Bcc? We've already dealt with that. What is an attachment? This is a file that has been added to the email. So it's like taking something and stapling it onto your assignment. You are adding that so that not only does the person get the message, but they are getting this added file as well. Okay. Then the last one for 2 marks. Why do you think was this attachment compressed? Well, if something is going to be compressed, it's been made smaller. So number one, it was a large file, right? The original file must have been a lot larger than this one. Okay, so number one, to make it smaller. Number two, so that it can be sent via email, because a lot of email programs have a limit as to the size of files they can send. So in this case, it was easy for the person to be able to send the email because they made it smaller. The memo does mention here, I'll just have a look at this. Since the file is 9 megs after it's being compressed, the original must have been much larger. Okay, so yeah, there's your wording over there. And grade 10s, that's it for our 50 mark theory paper for term 3, September. Again, like I said to you, if you have a paper that is not like this one from your particular school, and you can get hold of it, or you can ask your teachers to send it through to me, to email it to me at carlin.hambury@gmail.com. Please do so. I'll be happy to take it, go through it, and do a little video on it as well. So grade 10s, thank you so much, and I'll see you in another video.